hand-painted model. That was the instance with this Fennec Shan model. She is fully hand-painted by our model teams, and we actually did a couple rounds of iteration getting her face and her makeup just right, a little too much, a little too little. So sometimes the paint can just get a little thick. I would say that we definitely want to do justice to this incredible actress, so give her a break and maybe wait until the final production, because we're hoping that you'll see a better effect then.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Great. David from Endor Express.
Good morning. I think it just reminds you that you need more Ewoks in the line if you have 2 Endor accounts on here.
Never have enough.
First question: the new Jabba's palace, the Boba Fett throne room is gorgeous. But I was curious why no mention of maybe a compatibility with Jabba figures and all that. With the anniversary Return of the Jedi coming out, I thought it'd be kind of a great cross promotion, maybe double use of that, maybe sell 2 of them to most people.
Thank you. Yes, we definitely kept it in mind that this playset is intended to be reconfigurable in a way that can span the eras, and nothing on this playset is, glued down or permanent in a way that you can't rearrange it to serve the purposes of both the original trilogy and the new shows. For us, we really wanted to give this the, Book of Boba Fett moment, since that's what's been on screen right now. But we definitely expect this playset to continue to see life and become, a fun opportunity for other eras of Star Wars as well. And I'm sure that the fans have arrived there.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right. We'll go to John from Star Wars TVC Instagram. Hey, John.
Hi. Thank you guys for doing this. So the HasLab Razor Crest, which is amazing, and last year's Target exclusive X-Wing repaint are great. But we haven't seen a new vehicle at mass retail since the Imperial Troop Transport 2 years ago. Mission Fleet is chugging along very nicely, but we miss all the vehicles that make the 3.75-inch scale so special. So can you speak to why we haven't seen as many lately? If we'll be seeing more in the future? Mando's in one Starfighter, please, just saying.
Cough, cough. It's so cool, right? So yeah, I think that, we definitely haven't walked away from vehicles in the vintage collection. We're finding that right place to bring them to life, whether that be in HasLabs or, through this new maybe format that we're testing with the, testing the waters with the new playset that's a Pulse exclusive. But finding that right opportunity to bring a playset and a vehicle into the line is, a dance of when that price point is right for us. We definitely, though, have been totally inspired by the incredible vehicles that have continued to come out in the Disney Plus shows, and it's something we're thinking about. Nothing we can announce, of course, but vehicles are part of this world.
Big part.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All righty, Jose, what have you got?
Thank you. Good morning. As David said, we want more Ewoks.
Absolutely. The Endor Alliance.
Yeah. The playset of Jabba's Palace Throne Room is amazing, but why did you decide to sell it as a regular item instead of a HasLab project? I mean, for the size and the price, it could be a perfect HasLab project.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Certainly something we thought about. I think ultimately we decided on it as a pure Pulse exclusive, just due to the lower price point and honestly the lower resources needed. And it's funny, right? We say like HasLab is for those dream projects. Like this is certainly like a dream come true item, but we were able to do it through this way. And so we didn't want to kind of firewall it behind that HasLab wall. And honestly, like those campaigns are fun, but they're also, they can be nerve wracking. Certainly, obviously, very much so. And so we were able to do it this way. And so it was the more straightforward way to do it. And so that's what we decided to do. Absolutely. Thank you. Steve, what have you got for us?
Yeah, hi. The newer vintage collection expressions like playsets, troop builder packs, and deluxe sets have all been nearly plastic free, which is in line with Hasbro's pledge to phase out most plastic from packaging by the end of 2022. Where does that leave the basic vintage collection figure, which has the iconic packaging with the card and bubble? Should we expect it to change by this time next year? Or does Hasbro recognize that packaging is part of the product for many collectors?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. As you know, play sets and vehicles have been in that same closed box configuration, for a long, long time. You mentioned the troop builder packs; those would have always been in that packaging, regardless, just because the whole point of those sets is to troop build, and the packaging kind of isn't the point. You know, the new world building sets that we launched, again, kind of that format made sense rather than those bigger cards. In terms of the plastic-free pledge, you know, Hasbro made that pledge, and I'll say honestly, I was happy to see it. It made me proud to be part of a company that was thinking kind of beyond our four walls and thinking of the broader world. You know, that being said, we're certainly aware of kind of that's on a high level, right? We're certainly aware of the details it will mean. We're working through kind of what it will mean across the line. That excitement doesn't take away from the fact that we are absolutely aware that the packaging is part of the product for many collectors. We're working through those details. We don't have anything to share today, but you know, we know the timeline in that pledge, and we'll certainly revert back with more information before the end of the year.
Thanks.
Absolutely, thank you. All righty, up next, I think we're going back to the top with Volker.
Alrighty. Question about the Boba Fett that's shipping in the box instead of on a card back. What was the idea behind putting it on a box instead of the card?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think we mentioned this in an earlier interview in a different session, but obviously that Maldo crease set with the Mandalorian kind of had that wider card back. I think we heard some feedback from that it kind of didn't fit into kind of the cohesiveness of collections. And so, you know, we wanted to kind of rectify that moving forward with this product and others. We also know, again, our play sets and vehicles have those amazing dioramas on the front. Those diorama shots that we've heard great feedback from in the community. And so this format lends itself to that packaging style. So those are all the reasons we went with the new box, but also certainly harkening back to some classic items rather than a single card.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely, thank you. David.
All right, my second question was asked, so I will put in a new one. For
Absolutely.
the recent HasLab Rancor and its kind of demise, but are these really killed though? Because I mean, with the finale of Boba Fett, probably would have passed if people saw that episode, or if there was many options to kind of convert it to a different Rancor. So I was wondering, are there talks about bringing certain things back for another shot? Or if you could speak to that on both Vintage Collection and Black Series, I guess, for the Rancor.
Yeah, it's tough to know what the future would hold. If I could predict that, I'd be in a different line of work. You know, HasLab's obviously, we've said this before, it's kind of the stated mission statement. It's about allowing fans to decide if those dream projects get developed. And I will say I backed, a couple. I was really excited to bring those into my house. I said this previously. I don't know if my wife was so excited, but we would have worked through that. And obviously, we really appreciate the fans who supported the project, showed their passion. We were heartbroken for both ourselves and for the fans when it didn't happen. Ultimately, at the end of the day, over that, whatever it was, 45-day period, fans decided that this particular project in this particular configuration with these details wasn't what they wanted to see. And that's what HasLab is all about. And so that's fine. We've had conversations about how to apply learnings. At this point, can't say anything in the future. We'll never rule anything out. We're not currently exploring kind of reviving it. And so I think we'll move on and see what comes next for HasLab, which whenever it happens, I'm sure we'll be excited, and hopefully the community will be as well. Awesome, great. All right, moving next to John.
Great. So both the Vintage Collection Maldo Kreese, Mando, and Grogu, and the Elite Squad Trooper are VC211. Will we see any running changes to fix this or assign one a new number? And why do so many of these kind of overlapping number issues keep happening?
Yeah, it's a fair question. We're not going to do a running change here. I think we did that previously. I think it was on that Yab and Leia. I think that created, it came out of a good place to try to rectify the error. I think it ended up creating more frustration that there were kind of those two different variants out there. So they're both just going to live as VC211, and hopefully in 40 years, kind of when we look back, it'll be something that's celebrated. We'll see. In terms of why they keep happening, it's definitely not our goal. There's no reason we would want that to happen. We are making sure that all numbers are filled, so there's no kind of gaps. Once something is out with a redundant number, there's nothing we can do with it. Whenever that happens, we look at why, and we make sure it doesn't happen in the future. And kind of we sometimes get more curveballs and we deal with those, but it's definitely, there's no reason we would want it to happen. So it's definitely something we're working on for the future.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Jose, back to you.
There is a delay from almost a year between the new characters that are introduced in the Disney Plus series and the time the action figures are released. That didn't happen with new characters when a new movie was released. Could we expect in the future to receive the action figures near to the release of the characters in the series, especially with the main characters?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think, back in the movie era, there were certainly some characters that weren't released. And I always mention, Old Man Luke at the end of episode 7. Like, we saw him on screen the same time the fans did. And, it was an amazing reveal and wouldn't have traded it for anything. At the same time, we do still have some characters like Bo-Katan during Mando season 2. We were able to reveal and pre-order that during the entertainment. We see things a lot of the times the same times you guys do. And, a great example is the child Grogu. We saw that for the first time, and I wouldn't have traded that for anything. Like, the impact that had, the joy it brought to fans' lives, that surprise and delight, that was fantastic. And so if we need to make the toys a little later, that's fine in order to, have that kind of impact in the world. So, we'll continue on. We trust Lucasfilm and Disney and Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni with The Mandalorian implicitly, and trust that they'll give us what they can and hold back what makes sense to hold back. And then as soon as we get that information, we race as quickly as possible to get those product out, because we know that the community wants to see them.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Steve, back to you.
So you spoke before about wanting to create a better pre-order experience for fans. However, each new pre-order lately seems to bring a new headache, including recent examples of items going up and selling out before their announced time. Websites with exclusive figures crashing on pre-order day, bots clearing out the allotment of figures before fans can get any, or the prices in pre-order days changing after the information is given to fan sites. This is all on top of the delays and guessing games that are just part of the world we live in now. We know some of this is out of your hands, but can you speak to what steps you're taking to fulfill the promise of better pre-order experiences?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, we know that there are issues out there. We've said in the past, a lot of these items we wouldn't be able to get out without them kind of, being exclusives and without our retail partners, and we value that. I can't share any specific details, but I think there's an example. Emily and I met with kind of the team, and Emily shared some insights that she's gathered from the fan community. And so we are having those conversations. I know there was an item, I'm forgetting what week it was now at this point, but there was an item that went out and there was some confusion about the price, and we raced that morning to get a message out to you all so that we would have the correct information out there before the item went on pre-order. So, again, the state of the world today is challenging, and that leads to some of these issues. We've been throwing a lot of the curveballs. As soon as we get them, we try to kind of make improvements for the future. And it's interesting. I think we had made some advancements before the start of the pandemic. We'll continue working on it. And again, because we're all on the same page here, right? Like, it's our interests are exactly the same as the community's. We want a smooth experience for many reasons, and we're working on making that happen more in the future.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. All righty. Back to the top for round 3 with Volker.
Well, the problem is you still can't see me. Otherwise, you would see me taking my head off and taking a bow because of this awesome new Jabba, or I should say Boba Fett throne room.
It's all Emily.
Thank you.
All her, of course. It's awesome. It looks great. It's long been waited for. And actually, it's regarding also question number 4. It's about the waiting kind of game here. Is there a way that you guys can discuss more with Lucasfilm and Disney to bring these products earlier to the market? So when the series or the entertainment starts, so we get it on shelf while series are running?
Yeah, no, I think this gets to kind of that similar question that was asked earlier. And again, it's the same answer kind of, we work with the best storytellers in the business, and there's no other brand I'd rather be a part of. Like, Star Wars is my love and my passion, and Lucasfilm and Disney, they have a fantastic track record. Like, the Star Wars brand exists because of Lucasfilm. And so, and again, I wouldn't trade the impact of Luke at the end of episode 7, Baby Yoda, Grogu in The Mandalorian for anything. And so again, we trust those guys. It's a great partnership. When we see the assets, we race as quickly as possible to get the product out.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. David, back to you.
All right. So now that Emily's on the line, I have to put my pitch in for more background weirdos to fill out things like the throne room and, you know, just in general. So like, is there more coming? Because I'm kind of I'm personally getting tired of clones, and I just need more alien random people, you know, like to fill these bars up that you guys are putting out there too.
Yeah, I think we wouldn't be Star Wars designers if we weren't thinking about the background weirdos too. And I think you can see that with it was one of my goals to bring the Mythral into the vintage collection, which, you know, some people underestimate him. I think he was, you know, hilarious and had multiple season appearances, and we thought we'd give him a shot for that fun background character opportunity. So we're still looking at those types of characters. And, you know, the new shows have provided a wealth of that and stuff that I think we'll be reviewing, you know, not just for this upcoming year, but for years into the future. There's just such a deep well of Star Wars characters to continue to draw from, and never say never for those background weirdos, because they're so fun.
Absolutely. Awesome. All righty. Up next, I think again we're skipping Mark. So John, it's up to you.
Yeah, so some releases lately have turned out to be tied into the Book of Boba Fett more than they seemed at first, like the 501st Legion clone trooper seen in the flashback, Figuren Dan, and Ahsoka Tano. There have been some more overt examples of this phenomenon, like the Black Series getting original trilogy versions of Wedge and Palpatine before their returns in The Rise of Skywalker, or all the Boba Fett love that happened before his first return in The Mandalorian. So, kind of going off of some of the other questions, does Lucasfilm tell you which legacy characters are appearing in upcoming shows so you can plan these releases without totally spoiling upcoming media? Or are some of these just happy coincidences?
Yeah, I can't dive too much into the details. Right. But when those things happen, you know, we're certainly thrilled. I forget, Emily, if you were there, but Celebration in 2019. And obviously kind of we were in the crowd for the Rise of Skywalker panel, and Ian McDermott kind of revealed, and again, as you mentioned, we had that Palpatine Black Series item being revealed either later that day or the next day, and it was great timing. So when those things come about, you know, however they come about, it's certainly exciting because again, well, I'll reiterate, you know, we trust Lucasfilm and Disney implicitly, and appreciate when they don't give us information because it makes for a great on-screen product. We also love when those things line up because it makes just such a fun experience for fans, you know, of the product and the entertainment.
Great.
Absolutely. Cool. All righty, Jose, back to you.
With the return of many old characters to the Book of Boba Fett, like 88, Gamorrean Guard, Max Rebo, or even the Rancor, we expect a re-release or an update of those figures, especially in the third quarter collection?
Thank you. I think it's really fun to watch those characters return from the past for these cameos in the new show, and I think we all get that nostalgia jolt from it. I think that part of our focus will be on delivering the top characters first from these contents. And, you know, as I've said, I think those characters that are in the background, they'll have opportunities for years to come. They may not be the first out of the gate, but never say never for them. And we're going to continue to draw inspiration from the awesome stuff we're seeing.
Thank you.
Oh, are you on mute, Patrick?
Sorry about that. I had to cough. Steve, back to you for the end of round 3.
Yeah, so we had a throne room playset question that was asked, so we're going to jump to a backup question.
No problem.
You recently said that the upcoming vintage collection specialty repack waves would be on a separate peg instead of being part of the regular vintage collection SKU at retailers who choose to carry the assortment. This is great news to keep fan favorite characters on pegs alongside new figures, and we know it's been in the plans for a long time. Can you speak to whether retailers have actually chosen to carry this assortment outside of the fan channel and international retailers?
Absolutely. Yeah, no. So, you know, just in the US here, a couple examples. So Walmart and Target are both carrying, which I think is the perfect end result, right? It shows kind of the commitment to vintage collection and the passion from the community for that expression. And it also means that we're able to get those kind of, you know, more well-known characters out there for newer fans without blocking the pegs for our mainline waves. So again, that was based on feedback from the community, and we're grateful for that, and hopefully it'll work out well moving forward.
Thanks.
All right, cool. All righty, back to the top, round 4 with Volker.
Simple one. Is Hasbro planning on attending San Diego Comic-Con this year?
We can't comment on any specific plans. We got a question in an earlier conversation about celebration, but we are certainly excited to get back to conventions whenever it's safe to do so. I know my first convention, it was 2016. Like it was just, it was a trip, right? And it was just amazing to, I'd been working on these products, and it was amazing to interact with the community and hear firsthand kind of what they're thinking. And I know we say a lot that that's one of the ways we hear from the community. We haven't been able to do it the past couple of years. So we're all just either chomping or champing at the bit to get back out there, and we'll certainly do so when it's safe to do so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. David, back to you.
All right, I'm switching gears. I'm going to, this is a Galaxy's Edge question because you guys have recently put out those exclusive sets that were available at Shop Disney. At least 2 of them still are. So I got the first set, which was the Droid Depot, and the First Order set is still on its way. How, I know you can't talk to details, but if there's more droids in the land that you guys could make into the line, or characters into the line, what's the scheduling of that, and how do they say like you could only do 3 sets a year, or I don't know if you could speak to that.
Yeah, no, that's been another great partnership, and we really love that. Galaxy's Edge. I've said before, I haven't been yet. The team went in 2019. I was on paternity leave at the time with my first child, and so whenever he's around, I say that was the right decision. But it looks amazing. It's such a rich new corner of the Star Wars universe, and so we were really excited to work on those items. And they just really kind of bring a lot of new variety and new depth to the line. In terms of future sets, can't say anything about those, but certainly the droids are a huge piece of Galaxy's Edge. They're a huge piece of Star Wars, and they always factor into our discussions for the future. Awesome. All righty, back to John.
All right, so we've gotten 2 deluxe priced Boba Fett figures each in TVC and TBS announced over the last few months. Some of them have additional accessories, and the Tython version in Black Series has enhanced deco, but they seem to come up a little short in terms of offering a deluxe value at this deluxe price point, especially considering they seem to reuse some parts from basic price figures. And you were able to get an awesome TVC Boba Fett from Return of the Jedi into the basic line just about a year ago. And other upcoming deluxe figures have large or multiple accessories. So why have all these Boba releases come with such a markup, the Boba tax, as we call it?
Yeah, no, it's a fair question. Basically, different things can drive. It's not a one size fits all. Different things can drive that higher price point for a figure. Certainly, size is one of them. Soft goods as well. When we launched the Black Series Deluxe line in 2019, and I said this on some earlier conversations, General Grievous, like literally, he was in the line for several years leading up to that. We just couldn't make him work in the mainline price point because of his size and complexity and soft goods. And that's one of the reasons we invented the Deluxe line in 2019. So those are certainly drivers. Deco is another huge one. And that's obviously, that's a major difference in fan-focused product. If you look at Black Series Vintage Collection versus some of our other lines, deco is a huge differentiator. And honestly, in our conversations, we wouldn't want to compromise on that in order to get a figure into the main line. That's a key part of the fan experience and what makes these products so cool. Boba Fett, honestly, like if you kind of compare him, he is one of the most highly decoed figures in the line, if not the most highly decoed in his armor. It's certainly not anything with the name Boba Fett. I think we did that Nomad Boba Fett from Tython, I think, or Tatooine in the Black Series mainline. So it's not the name. Deco is a huge piece. It's not cheap. And so that's what drives that. We wouldn't be able to do the figures in mainline otherwise. And so, that's why we're able to get them out through this means.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All righty. Jose, back to you.
Could we expect in the future another section of Jabba's Palace throne room? Maybe one with the Bacta tank?
Yeah, it was fun when we saw the Bacta tank. I think as we consider areas of the throne room, we are going to be looking for the spots where the most action takes place. And also, does Lucasfilm return to this setting in the future? Because as much as they keep it in the relevant and current content, that's going to inspire us to maybe potentially explore it more in the future. I wouldn't say that we have anything we can announce currently, but I've said in some of our past interviews, Tatooine is evergreen. This is a spot that they continue to tell amazing stories here, and we'll continue to think about it.
Absolutely. Awesome. All righty. Steve, close us out for round 4.
Recent figures have been at various different heights, including the TVC Bo-Katan, who some fans feel is too short, and the TVC Bib Fortuna, which is quite tall. Though the figures are fantastic and of themselves, what references and info do you work off of to get the figures' heights where they need to be?
Thank you so much. So I can speak to this one. So Star Wars is a line where we aim to try to recreate the actual actor's height. And so there's a lot of action figure lines where there's like, this is the height of girls and this is the height of boys and everything is standardized. But in Star Wars, we're never going to just generically make a Princess Leia taller than the actress was. And so this is something that when we get the reference in, what's really helpful in the modern reference is that what they've been doing is sending us assets where the actor is actually standing next to an enormous ruler. So, that stuff is really helpful from the Lucasfilm side as a partnership there to make sure that we're capturing the actor's height. For the figures that you specifically mentioned, Katie Sackhoff is 5'6". And so that's something that we wanted to be true to with her figure, was to make sure that she's sort of an accurate height for her. And on the other side, I don't know if many fans know it, but Michael Carter, who played the original Bib Fortuna, he was 6'3". So he was an extremely tall actor and one that we wanted to represent more accurately than actually some of his past releases. So we're just aiming as best we can. And I'm not sure it's ever going to be perfect, but we're aiming as best we can to be true to that actor.
Great. Well, keep up the good work. Thanks.
Thank you.
Awesome. All righty. One last round. Volker, kick us off. What's on your mind?
All right. With the fairly larger throne room playset, are you thinking of going rather big in the future, or are we going to see smaller playsets still, like the 10-4 corridor? And how about a new Jabba?
Emily, you want to take this one?
Sure. So I think with the throne room playset, we're testing the waters with the format of a playset this size. You can see it's a little different in size and price from the past ones that we've done, and that enabled us to put so much incredible detail in it. But that is a little bit of a test for us. We want to see the response from the fans and if this is sort of a size of playset and world that they're interested in. So a little bit of this is going to be gauging the response, and if we see a great result, then this is something we're definitely going to continue to think about for the future.
Absolutely. Cool. David.
All right. So I think you probably need to answer this question like once a season or something like that. So when I go to a retail store now, the Star Wars section is really just disappointing, depressing almost. Can you speak to the current state of shipments? Is it still really delayed, or are retailers just not ordering enough for demand because there's just absolutely nothing when I go? Just a bunch of Landos, unfortunately, but.
Yeah, I think it's not the latter. I think, Star Wars is the best brand in the world. But it's been on an amazing tear the past, 2.5 years, year and a half, I think, since conclusion of the Rise of Skywalker, launch of the Mandalorian. And so I think retailers are definitely aware and excited for the demand. As many companies throughout the world are, we're just facing global logistical issues. It's just a big curveball thrown by the state of the world today. We're working through that. It's new challenges, and so we're tightening that up where we can. We're doing everything we can with our retail partners, with kind of that whole supply chain, to get product out as soon as possible, given the constraints. And we're hopeful whenever the end of this situation comes and the world gets back, quote unquote, to normal, that we'll see an end to that, and we'll get back to the good times of Star Wars figures on pegs everywhere.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. John.
All right, so we're excited for more Mandalorian warriors in the vintage collection, but we're a little bit confused on what all is coming. So we know about the Death Watch Mandalorian from the Mandalorian Season 1 flashback, but we've also gotten pipelines for Mandalorian Death Watch Airborne Trooper, Mandalorian Super Commando Captain, and now a Mandalorian Commando from yesterday. Can you confirm that these are 4 separate releases? And is there anything else you can say about these to clarify, or should we wait for the details?
Absolutely. I'd love to clarify on this one. So I'm just trying to fill up your shelves with Mandalorians because all 4 of these are individual releases. So the first one, you mentioned it. This first one is the Mandalorian, which was from the live action flashbacks. That's the only one out of the 4, which is the live action trooper. That Mandalorian has that duller blue armor with the white striping. Really loved the way that Death Watch Mandalorian was portrayed in the entertainment. Following that, we loved the end conflict of Clone Wars Season 7 and the way that it was like Red Army, Blue Army, the troopers that, the Mandalorians that were loyal to Darth Maul, the Mandalorians that were loyal to Bo-Katan. And that clash is going to be brought to life with 2 of these troopers, which is our Mandalorian Death Watch Airborne Trooper on the blue side, our Mandalorian Commando on the red side. So those 2 are going to be an awesome just army to build. And then the final one, the Mandalorian Super Commando Captain. Now he's a little bit of a deeper cut. This is the Super Commando Captain that earlier in the Clone Wars actually tried to assassinate Duchess Satine. So he's a little deep cut, but we love the way that he has the horns on the helmet and thought he was just such a visual treat. So yeah, get your shelves ready. It's going to be a total troop building fest in those couple waves.
It's awesome. Can't wait. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jose, what have you got?
How well does the older section of Jabba's Palace throne room will fit with the new one? And could we expect in the future a kind of floor that let us fit better the 2 sections?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I think that the fun part about the accessories from the past dais and the past, elements is that all accessories are really reconfigurable in this new playset. You can bring, you can, take out the accessories from the Book of Boba Fett world, and you can bring in, the parts of the rail and the hookah and all of the pillows and stuff that make it into more of a Jabba scene from your past products if you have them. As far as the previous release, Jabba's Adventure set, that playset, we looked for ways to see if we could physically connect it to this one. It became a little bit of a challenge just because there's such a height difference, and this playset has that staircase up to the elevated platform, and that one's more flat against the ground. So in the end, we didn't build sort of a physical connection, but what we did was just take a look at the style, try to capture the way that original set built a design look with the crumbling tops of the architecture, the wash deco across the textured walls, the detail across the arch, and really bring some of that inspiration into this set. So I think that they're going to look great on the shelf next to each other if you have both.
Awesome. All righty, Steve, bring us to a close.
All right, so we love the new TVC troop building packs. Pre-orders on them have been limited, sometimes two per customer at Pulse and Shop Disney. While we support making sure everyone who wants them can get them, could you perhaps raise the limit on them after a certain time period so that everyone who wants one can get one, but then later those who want to build larger armies and spend more money can do so?
No, absolutely. It's a good idea. It's something we've discussed. Again, a lot of things go back to the current state of the world, and given that state of the world, we're not able to get kind of all the quantities of product we would want. And so given that, we want to make sure that everyone who wants one gets at least one. But it's definitely a good idea for the future. And again, once things get back to normal, quote unquote, it's definitely something we will revisit because we know that the demand's out there. And we know the whole point of those sets is to army build. It's in the name of the expression troop builder sets. And so we want to be able to enable that for fans who want to do so.
Great.
Awesome. I think that's it. Just wanted to say again, thank you so much to all you guys for joining us. We know that this is time out of maybe your workday or later at night or early in the morning. We love this. It's a great way for us to get feedback from the community, and it's also just a lot of fun for us. So thank you guys so much, and we look forward to doing it again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.